When Klal Yisrael went out to Galus, they understood that if they go out to Galus with the Yetzer Hara, the big Yetzer Hara of Avodah Zarah, then there would be no way for Am Yisrael to stand up against it. So they understood they have to kill the Yetzer Hara for Avodah Zarah. And where do we find it? It came out of the Parochos of the Kodesh Kodashim. What is the Yetzer Hara of Avodah Zarah doing in the Parochos of the Kodesh Kodashim? And they grabbed it and they killed it. Now there's no drawing, there's no pull towards Avodah Zarah the way there was then. Rav Ashi said, now we're going to learn about our friend Menashe. And Menashe, the king, came to him at night and he said, what, you're calling me your friend? I'm not your friend and I'm not your father's friend. And Rav Ashi said, look, I was just saying it because of Lashon Saginar, because you did Avodah Zarah. And the king said to him, you should know, if you were in my time, you would have lifted up the seams of the bottom of your pants and run to serve Avodah Zarah. There's a great pull towards serving Avodah Zarah back then. But after they killed the Avodah Zarah for serving the Yetzer Hara for serving Avodah Zarah, then it was very different. Afterwards, they also tried to kill the Avodah Zarah for Gilui Arayos. What happened? They catched him, and they pulled out one hair from him. And once they pulled out one hair, it screamed from one end of the world to the next. From one little hair, if it screams like that, what's going to happen if we try to kill it? So it was left, and they kept him for a while inside a box of lead. They put in a box of lead, and lead is one of the only things which are against radioactive material. The Yetzer Hara is radioactive. Afterwards they looked around and they saw a chicken walking one way and a rooster walking the other way, and they didn't even pay attention to each other. And they looked for an egg for a sick person and they couldn't even find an egg. So they realized if they're gonna kill this Yetzer Hara, then the world wouldn't be able to sustain itself, wouldn't be able to continue. So they said, what they're going to do, we're going to take out one of its eyes. Then it'll be a little bit weaker, and specifically the Averos Arayos that are close to him, like his daughter and his mother, so he'll have less Yetzer Hara for that. But it seems like in the that there's laser surgery nowadays. They did laser surgery, and now even that's what it seems like from the news. It seems that his eyes got a little better, and that's why people are now having Yetzer Hara also for their mother and daughters and things like that, close relations. And once they killed the Yetzer Hara for Avodah Zarah, Nevu also stopped. There's always a balance. Once they killed the Avodah Zarah of the Yetzer Hara, the Yetzer Hara of Avodah Zarah, right away also they lost Nevuah. It can't be that we could have Nevuah on one side and there's no Avodah Zarah on the other side. There must be a balance until Mashiach comes, until the end. And there should have been a great salvation. What would have been a great question? What's better, to go with Nevuah and with the Yetzer Hara of Avodah Zarah, or without either of them? And they decided in the end that it's better without either of them. Because who knows what's going to happen if both of them are in Chutz La'aretz. And the facts show that even when we had the Beis HaMikdash in Bayis Sheni, most of the time the Tzdukim were in charge of it, and there was Gilui Arayos and Shvichas Damim and all sorts of affairs even with the Beis HaMikdash. Also in Bayis Rishon it was very, very difficult. The Bayis Rishon was destroyed because of these things. So therefore they decided that it's better to have neither Nevuah and also not Avodah Zarah. So now that Nevuah left, there was still a Bechina of Ruach HaKodesh. Now Ruach HaKodesh is a Bechina of Shefa from Olam HaYetzira. No more Shefa from Olam HaYetzilus, they're only got from Olam HaYetzira. And this is what's called, on Pirkei Cholos, this is what's called Rabbi Akiva and his friends, they went into the Pardes. And these are aspects of going into the world of Yetzirah, where those people who knew how to go up to Olam Yetzirah, they knew the names of the gates and the names of the watchmen at the gates, and they knew exactly what to say at each place in order to get permission to go in. And so Rabbi Akiva says there to his friends, you should know when you get to a place of Avnei Shaish, don't say Maim, because it says Dover Shchoim lo yikarv leneged einai, and he was hinting to them what to say at a certain point in order to go deeper into this gate. We know that Rabbi Akiva was the only one that went in peace and also came out in peace. One went crazy, one died, and the other one became Epicurus. This existence, this is called Muruch HaKodesh, and using Pirkei Chalos and going into the Pardes. Those are the terms for this. And also that disappeared. And why did this aspect disappear? The aspect of Ruach HaKodesh, since the Beis HaMikdash, which we just read in Chukas, we just read about the Paraduma. And that's what's called Tova Emvik Tikanach Tzoras B'na. That was the only way that a person could purify himself from a Viyavos Tumah, from Tumas Meis. And therefore, wherever there were some ashes of Paraduma with the Chachamim even after the Chorban, because the ashes of Paraduma, there's no measurement, there's no amount that a person needs to use. Even one sprinkle with a lot of water, all the waters would be able to purify a person. So each one of the Chachamim, they saved a little bit of Efer Paraduma, and after 100 years or 200 years, there wasn't even one Chacham that had the Efer Paraduma. And each one of them till today were Tamei Meis, and the only thing that was left is Shimushei Olam Asiyah. Therefore, I want to say that Kabbalah Maasit, practical Kabbalah, is not Kabbalah that a person does something with it. It's a Kabbalah of Olam Asiyah, which means that people who do Kabbalah Maasit, they use Shadim and Malachim from Olam Asiyah. And we have to understand that Olam Atzilus is completely good. Olam Abriya is mostly good and partially not good. Olam Yetzirah is 50-50. And Olam Asiyah is mostly evil. And since Olam Asiyah is mostly evil, when these Malachim come and they help, these Malachim themselves, they're mostly evil. So even they don't know what they're doing, what they're talking about. And they're jealous of the person who makes a Shuva on them. The Rizal explains that when a malach is created on condition that if a person makes a shavua on the malach and makes the malach do something, the malach has to listen. That's the condition that he was created on. Now the malach gets angry that this person is forcing him to do all sorts of things, and he tries to hurt him, tries to get back at him. Let's pay attention to what Chaim Vital says. This is the secret of Kabbalah Maisis, and it's also to use it, since when a person uses it, he's for sure going to attach himself also to evil as well as good. And even when it tells him things, it's for sure there's a combination of evil, and especially since there's no Efer Paraduma, and the Klippas attach themselves to a person who's doing Kabbalah Maisis. So a person could think, hey, there's a quick way to do things. I don't have to become Kodesh, I don't have to do things. I could just say some names of Hashem and I'll get all sorts of Shefa. Or if I want to hurt somebody, if I want to gain someone's love, I could do all sorts of things to force this to happen. I could say these names of Hashem. I could rule over the world, rule over the nature. And Chaim Vital says, Shomer nafshe yichlak mehem. You should stay. Someone who cares about himself should stay away from this. Not only does he contaminate his soul, he also will be punished in Gehenna, and he will get. There's a Kabbalah that we have that he will become poor, him or his children, or he'll be sick, him or his children, or he'll go off the derech, him or his children. This is the story of Yosef di Labina and Shlomo Malcha, who practiced Kabbalah Maisis and were destroyed from the world. In the Sefer Shai Kedusha, with the 4th chapter, there's a story that's called Maaseh Nora, where there it tells the whole story of Yosef di Labina, who is a great, great person, a holy person, and he wanted to bring Mashiach, and still he went off the derech. It's a very scary thing, someone who reads this story. We don't have time right now to elaborate on this topic, but this is a very shocking story for anyone who reads it. And also what happened with Shlomo Malcha, someone who knows Shlomo Malcha was Marana, and he was a priest he was a priest for the king. And when David Ruveni came, a certain person who came to explain that he was on the other side of a river, and he was from the tribe of Reuven, and he came to redeem Klal Yisrael. So Rav Shlomo Malcha did a bris milah on himself, and he ran away from the king. And when he ran away, he met Rav Yosef Teitzak, who was a great makubal, and he also understood halacha very well, the rest of Torah very well. And when he found that he started writing Shulchan Aruch, when he found that Rav Yosef Karo was writing Shulchan Aruch, he stopped, and then he learned Kabbalah from him. And after he learned Kabbalah Maisis, he wasn't afraid to go to the Epiphore. It was the head priest, and he understood that he would be able to fly away with practical Kabbalah, with Kabbalah Maisis, and he went to the Pope and he died al Kiddush Hashem because he was not able to escape. And we remember him very well because his death was machaper on everything, all of his practices of Kabbalah Maisis, since he jumped into the fire all by himself with saying Kriya Shema. And Rav Yosef Karo in Magid Misharim asks from his Magid that they should arrange a death in Shemayim for him like Rav Shlomo Malcha. And the Magid promises that they'll arrange it, but in the end things changed, and Rav Yosef Karo lived a long and good life, and didn't die